Is the market going to crash again? I mean, what in the world is happening to home values? If you're asking these questions, don't worry. You're not alone, and this video is for you. I'm Roddy, local Minnesota and Wisconsin realtor since 2010, serving the greater Twin Cities area of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the suburbs that surround them. This video is really important to me because I've seen a lot of people commenting on the state of the market. We're going to take a deep dive into the data to see if we're headed towards another real estate crash. But before I get going, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more amazing content that covers all the areas around the Twin Cities and Western Wisconsin. As a quick side note, if you need a world-class realtor anywhere in the United States but don't know how to find the right one, go to findrealagent.com. It's a free service and more information can be found in the description below. Ups and downs, that's how I would describe the last year in real estate. Because of these peaks and valleys, a lot of people are raising concern that, oh my gosh, we're headed for another 2008 market crash. Hold your horses there. I want to assure you that this season of the housing market doesn't have the same conditions as were present in the last housing crash. It's actually very different. So why don't we just take a look at the data and you can draw your own conclusions. First off, foreclosures are really low. It's way different than anything we've seen in the past. And it is unlikely that we're going to see that change because not as many homeowners are actually in trouble this time. In the last housing crisis, over 9 million people went into foreclosure, sold as a short sale, or just gave the keys back to the bank as a result of the financial crisis. Why did this happen, you ask? Because banks were giving away money to anyone who could fog a mirror and say their name. They were allowing people to buy homes that they couldn't afford, and they were using mortgage products that they shouldn't have been using. Those bad choices led to wave after wave of foreclosure that eventually brought all the housing prices down. The reason why you don't need to worry about that now is because lending standards have dramatically changed, like big time. And because of that, less homeowners are behind on their mortgage. But don't take my word for it. Marina Walsh, Vice President of Industry Analysis at the Mortgage Bankers Association, recently said, and I quote, "For the second quarter in a row, the mortgage delinquency rate fell to its lowest level since MBA's survey began in 1979, declining to 3.45%. Foreclosure starts and loans in the process of foreclosure also dropped in the third quarter to levels further below their historical averages." That's just a reiteration of what I previously said, that less people are behind on their mortgages. Secondly, there have been less foreclosures over the past 2 years. If you pay attention to our misleading media, you may have heard that the number of foreclosures are rising today. But the context behind the numbers is important. During the pandemic, a lot of homeowners were actually able to pause their mortgage payments with different forbearance programs. These programs gave people that were behind another option and more time to get their finances in order or even work out something with their lender. With these programs, a lot of experts were worried that that was going to lead to waves of foreclosures, but that just never happened. Recent data from the New York Fed shows that actually there are less foreclosures now than before the pandemic. The media has been misleading because while there are more foreclosures now than there were last year, the numbers are still well below what the housing market has seen in a more typical year like 2017 to 2019. But most importantly, the number that we're seeing now is well below what it was when the last housing crash happened. So what's the big takeaway I hope you get from this? Don't be afraid. While foreclosures are up year over year, the historical context is what you need to pay attention to. And lastly, prices have just gone up dramatically over the past 5 years. Most homeowners have more than enough equity to sell their home if they need to. A recent report from Adam Data gives us the numbers. Only about 214,800 homeowners were facing possible foreclosure in the second quarter of 2022, or just 0.4% of the 58.2 million outstanding mortgages in the U.S. Of those facing foreclosure, about 195,400, or 91%, had at least some equity built up in their homes. Bottom line is that if you see headlines about the increasing number of foreclosures today, remember that context is important. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.